vacuum here. I'm able to do firsthand reporting from the people I meet on the streets, not only the residents, but also the tourists still stranded here, and from the police officers I come across. This day, when we started the day, there was not water in the streets from around the hotels where we were. Now there is a couple of feet deep. I have heard from some of the officers that they believe that water might rise in the morning and overnight. I am not sure, however, how high that water will go. So that's the latest from here in New Orleans. I'm Jeff Goldblatt. Greta, now back to you.
All right, Jeff, thanks. To give the viewers some idea of what even our crews have to contend with, I got an email from Molly Henneberg, who's on the ground covering the story for us, and she's now arrived in Baton Rouge, and she sent me an email a little while ago from BlackBerry and says that her crew is stranded, no rooms, they're going to camp out, and I guess tongue-in-cheek, she adds, I'm not a great camper, but she certainly is determined to cover the story as everybody else is on this. Let's go to Fox Orlando Salinas. He's live in Gulfport, Mississippi. Orlando.
Hi, Greta. We thought you were going to come to us a little while ago at the top of your show. We were going to show you some EMT and firefighters who have come out here with their dogs to apparently go looking and see if they can sniff out any bodies or any people who might be in trouble. We saw that. We are right now here in Gulfport, about 9 miles east of us in Biloxi. We do know they've lost at least 100 people about 90 miles to the west of us, New Orleans behind me. I'm going to step out of the way. This is what they're looking at all over this area. They've got, if you can multiply this by about 100 times at least, these containers spread out all over this portion of Gulfport, Mississippi, going as far as 2 miles inland. That's what some of these folks are out here telling us. Spoke with a couple of people, a guy by the name of Mike Knoll and B.J. Edwards. They say that all hell broke loose for them right around 5 o'clock or so this morning. That's what they're telling us. Look over here. This is a downed, looks like a street sign or a corner light. But again, this is going on all over here around Gulfport. If you can imagine a giant going around and stomping every little step that he wants, that's what happened here. That's exactly what happened here in Gulfport. We do know that you have the railroad tracks out here, the south and the north. Folks who live on the south side of the tracks say that they were hit with a lot of tornadoes. Folks on the north side say that they got all that storm surge. And we do know that apparently a whole lot of tornadoes came through here. Right now there is no power. There is no hardline phone, no cell phones. We also can tell you this much, that water distribution points and food distribution points have not been quite set up yet. We know that some people came out earlier today and they were buying some ice from a man who set up a little stand on the side of the road and was selling ice. That eventually ran out. People got a little bit hot-tempered, but they moved on. We spoke today with some people who came by from a girls and boys club van, and they had several elderly people inside that van. They said they just had to get them on out of where they were being held because there was no air, so they brought them out here, and those folks were certainly shocked by what they saw. I don't know, Greta, if you've ever seen those Dawn of the Dead movies, that's what some of these people looked like when they walked out here for the first time and saw the destruction in their own backyard. Their mouths wide open. You could see the look on their face, no words. It broke your heart to see these people. This is a service industry town. It most certainly is. And now with these all the damage done here here in Gulfport, Mississippi, they know it's going to be a long, long time before they get their city back in order at all. Greta?
Orlando, when we talk to our correspondents in New Orleans and we hear about even bodies floating around and how they're trying to save, obviously, those who are alive and they're ignoring the bodies, we hear that there are 100 probably dead in Mississippi. You know, as we look at your pictures, it looks so horrible and that there's a big chance there are a lot more dead. Are the rescue people saying to you on the side that this could be much worse than we even think tonight?
Oh. Yeah, most definitely, Greta. That's exactly what we're hearing. We do know that we've been hearing to some of the local radio, and there are reports that people, entire neighborhoods, they can't have any access to them. They have been so heavily destroyed. Actually, on my left, you're right at home, there are neighborhoods here that are really practically shacks to a lot of people. Look, I'm not slamming anybody. This is where you live, but the truth is, this is not a very rich neighborhood at all. The folks here are pretty doggone poor. And we were driving through here, and a lot of those homes are pretty much flattened. There are power lines down. There are trees down. You know it. You've seen the pictures, folks. That's exactly what it is here. I covered Hurricane Andrew back in '92, and this looks a lot to me like Hurricane Andrew. Greta? And,
of course, when they clear away the debris, can be a lot more devastation than we even know of tonight. Orlando, thank you. Katrina is making her way across the country tonight, leaving death and devastation in her path, and she's planning more. The weather over the next few days could be critical for the rescue and recovery efforts. AccuWeather meteorologist Bernie Rayno is live in State College, Pennsylvania, with a forecast. Bernie, what's she going to do, or is she almost finished?
Well, she's on her last hurrah here, not only tonight, but as we go through our day on Wednesday. Now, here she is. You can still see quite a bit of rain associated with her from Pittsburgh or just off to the north and west of Pittsburgh, across Cleveland, Columbus. There's some heavy-duty rain pushing up into Syracuse. Now, these red boxes, these are tornado watches. Still a tornado watch out in the Washington, D.C. area. Tomorrow, I think, is the last hurrah for Katrina as far as producing severe weather. And there can be some severe weather. Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, where we could see strong to severe thunderstorms with strong wind gusts and isolated tornadoes. Now, a little better news, though, once we head down toward New Orleans as far as the weather here. Notice on Doppler radar, not any precipitation right now, and I think over the next couple of days we are going to be dry, as a lot of dry air has come in behind Katrina, and that's why we're looking at sunshine. So like a snapshot here, it's generally going to be rain-free. Now, can there be an isolated thunderstorm over the next couple of afternoons? Sure, but that's not going to be the real problem. The real problem is going to be the heat and humidity. High temperatures in the lower 90s, that does include New Orleans and also Mobile, Gulfport as well. Lows in the lower 70s, but that's only half the story. When you factor in the humidity, factor in the wind is going to be very, very light. Your AccuWeather real field temperatures are going to peak between 115 and 120 degrees, so it's going to feel very uncomfortable out there. And, of course, the power is out. There is no air conditioning, and this is going to make it feel even worse. Now, the cleanup is going to take weeks. Everybody's talking about that, so what I thought I'd do is show you what September generally is like here across the central Gulf Coast states. We're generally looking at high temperatures in the upper 80s as we go through the month of September. Normal lows only in the upper 60s, and this is the other thing, precipitation a little over 6 inches as we go through the month. Now, again, the good news is the next 5 or 6 days, we're not looking at any precipitation that's going to be organized, but the bad news is, Greta, we're not looking at any cooler air coming our way. So the heat and humidity that we've seen here over the last couple of days is going to continue for the rest of this week and probably into early next week, Greta.
Bernie, you know, we've paid so much attention to the weather down in the Gulf states. Did you just say that there is tornado activity in the Washington, D.C. area, or a lookout?
There is a tornado watch right now out for Washington, D.C. No confirmed tornadoes yet, but I do think that as the night wears on, the severe weather threat is going to be diminishing overnight. But watch out east in the mountains tomorrow in New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, along that I-95 corridor from Philadelphia up toward Washington, Boston. There is going to be the threat of severe weather, isolated flooding as well. And I think tomorrow, as I mentioned, is going to be the last that we are really going to be dealing with Katrina as far as current weather. Her effects are going to last months.
Well, I can't ignore the irony of the fact that I know the weather is so very well down in the southeast part of the country, and here I am in Washington, D.C., and this is the first I'm learning that we even have any unusual weather activity, Bernie, but thank you very much. And, of course, we will also be very safe here, but we don't have nearly the troubles they do down in the southeastern part of our country, the Gulf area. Coming up, officials are being forced to evacuate 2,500 patients from hospitals where the storm has knocked out power. Can they handle the evacuation? And how long will it be until the power is back on? Plus, we're going to take you to downtown New Orleans. Thousands of people still trapped. And the major roadways have been turned into rivers. But how can they get out?
Nothing's hotter. Cadillac. Breakthrough. The Cadillac employee discount for everyone. You pay what we pay.
Playing the guitar is like having a conversation.
Me and B.B. King have a lot in common.
I love to play.
He has diabetes, I have diabetes.
You got a girlfriend?
We both play the blues. He doesn't like to wait for results. I don't like to wait.
All done within 5 seconds. You just can't beat that.
Results in just 5 seconds. Ask for One Touch Ultra. One touch changes everything.
The next house just came on the market.
Nobody knows this neighborhood better than Wendy Owens. She's a Prudential real estate professional. She's always got the right listings.
And the school is great, too.
She knows the tools of the trade.
I'm emailing a link to the virtual tour.
And there's nobody better at bringing buyers and sellers together.
They've agreed to an early closing.
If you're buying or selling a home, talk to us today. Because we have people like Wendy Owens all across North America. Prudential Real Estate.
This is a classical design we did in Milan. Residence in 5 prestigious awards. So, what can I do for you?
Design a house around this.
Eric Clapton, Back Home. In stores now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Donna Fiducia, and here are some of the other stories making headlines this evening. A chilling video purportedly showing a U.S. chopper coming under fire in Iraq. The tape was obtained by the Associated Press, but its authenticity has not been confirmed. The choppers you can see spinning out of control and then landing. Now, yesterday, a U.S. helicopter was forced to do just that. One soldier was killed. Senate Democrats say some newly discovered documents involving Supreme Court nominee John Roberts could make things tougher for him at his confirmation hearings next week. The Reagan Library recently discovered the documents, which are being reviewed to see what can be released. Democrats say if the papers are delivered just before the hearing and end up revealing a lot about Roberts, more time for questioning may be needed. Police and feds pulling off a major drug bust in an effort that involved more than 200 cities. More than 400 people arrested in the first nationally coordinated operation aimed at producers and sellers of methamphetamine. The arrests follow recent criticism the feds weren't doing enough to combat the meth problem. And case closed, but questions remain. The government says its investigation into the nation's first domestic case of mad cow disease has ended, even though it never determined exactly how the Texas cow got infected. It's believed the cow ate contaminated feed before new safeguards were put in place. We'll see you with an update coming up in 30 minutes.
Hurricane Katrina has put millions of people in the dark, and it could be months before power is restored. The power is out from Louisiana to the Florida Panhandle, even in places like hospitals and nursing homes where loss of power can mean death. Join us live on the phone is Carolyn Shanks, the president and CEO of Entergy Mississippi. Entergy serves about 400,000 customers. Welcome, Carolyn.
Good evening, Greta.
Carolyn, of your 4,000 customers, how many don't have power tonight?
Well, at our peak, we hit about 300,000 customers. 70% were without power. We've reduced that number to about 250,000, but that is still a lot of customers without power.
Working around the clock?
We are working around the clock. We've spent most of the time starting to assess the damage. I think what was so interesting about the storm was the fact that once it hit the Gulf Coast, it did not stop. We still continued with Category 1 hurricane winds all the way up through central Mississippi and tropical storm all the way up to the Tennessee state line.
Yeah, when power goes out, it's, an enormous inconvenience at best, and sometimes risk and even possibility of causing death. But is there also a huge risk? Are people getting hurt touching live wires?
Oh, yes. We spend a good bit of our time trying to work with the public to make sure that they do not go near any downed power lines, try to walk through flooded waters, or try to remove trees. That's one of our biggest issues, trees coming down on lines, breaking poles, because they may not see the potential impact there.
Do you have any hospitals that are without power and also don't have generators to back them up?
Not tonight. That is one of our first priorities. Once we start having outages, we assess and know who our critical customers are. Hospitals, public works, such as water workstations that provide water filtration facilities, law enforcement, communications, 911 facilities. Those are our critical customers that we begin immediately restoring.
Now that you've got this huge mess in your hands, in fact, everybody does down in that area, does it make any sense to, when you repair this, is to put the wires underground instead of above ground where trees are knocking them down?
Well, actually, you go through a process and everyone knows underground is much more expensive than overhead, and at this point, most customers want their power restored as quickly as possible. And so what we tend to do is, if it was overhead, we replace it with overhead. If it was underground, it is replaced with underground. The fortunate thing is, with underground, most of the time, what you are repairing are the overhead feeds into that underground. So that is an advantage. But with this type of storm and winds that we had, we did have significant transmission issues, which are the major feeders into our areas.
All right, how about the wild guess? When do you think that all the other 250,000 will be able to get their power? And I realize you're fighting the elements here pretty heavily.
We would love to be able to say we could have them on next week. I will tell you, we are still assessing damages. We have parts of the state, even as far up as Jackson, Mississippi, and right south, that we consider in the dark. We are using satellite radios to communicate. We can't use cell phones. We don't have radios. So that is hindering the restoration. We are still out scouting, but we are estimating it could be weeks for restoring power.
Huge challenge for those who are out doing it. Of course, many of them probably have problems themselves, probably don't have power, probably living underwater, so it's a nightmare for everybody. Carolyn, thank you. Coming up, the levees have broken and New Orleans is quickly filling up with water. Helicopters are dropping 3,000-pound sandbags, hoping to stop the flooding. Plus, water is rising inside the Superdome, where thousands of people are riding out the storm. Those people need to evacuate.
Fox News. This is what we do.
Hello, my darling. Your last blossom beckons. I am so congested. If only my medicine could treat and help prevent these seasonal nasal allergy symptoms.
Only Nasonex is clinically proven to both treat and help prevent most seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, including congestion. Only Nasonex. Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
I have returned my flower, a changed bee.
For seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, Nasonex is the one to treat and help prevent congestion. Talk to your doctor.
Thrill seekers, bargain hunters, unite. The Mitsubishi Summer Thrill Ride clearance is here. Now for a limited time, buy any new 2005 Mitsubishi car or SUV and never pay interest. Get 0% APR for 60 months on all 2005 Mitsubishis and save thousands in finance charges compared to a typical car loan. Only at Mitsubishi, driven to thrill.
Katie hates when I tell people this. When she was about 7 years old, she used to run around wearing a little plastic stethoscope, taking everyone's pulse. Ever since then, we've been getting ready for this day. And Katie, I don't think I could be any more proud than I am right now.
Your dad's kind of a softie, huh?
Oh, he's not my dad. This is Steve, our Morgan Stanley guy. Hi, Mom.
How about a picture with the new doctor?
My pleasure.
Hey, Steve.
When you work with a Morgan Stanley financial advisor, you get someone unusually devoted to your dreams, one client at a time.
More bars in more places. That's the goal of the largest digital voice and data network in America. So you can be there even when you're not. The all-over network from Singular. Raising the bar.
Great. The power's out.
50,000 mouths. 200 legs. One hairy arm. And an overpowering urge to destroy the Pac-10. The green monster of Otson Stadium. Get your tickets now. It's gonna be a monster season.
I'm not what you would call a do-it-yourselfer. Like that time with my new HD TV. Thankfully, to get high-def programming from Comcast, I didn't have to install anything myself. One call and they did the rest. Now I get all these great HD channels, HD TV on demand, even an HD DVR, all without buying any expensive equipment. They really saved me from myself.
That's HD made easy. Comcast.
Get an exclusive rebate from Comcast when you buy a Panasonic HD TV from Comcast.Panasonic.com.
Louisiana's governor says anyone still in New Orleans needs to get out if he can, and the rest of the state is struggling to take care of the injured and the homeless. Fox Anita Vogel is standing by live in Orleans Parish, Louisiana. Anita?
Well, hi, Greta. You know, amid the devastation, there are some signs of hope and survival. For example, right now I'm standing along Interstate 10, and just down the road from me, a couple of miles, there are hundreds of people who were just rescued earlier today from downtown. Now, these are people who were stranded in their homes. The rising floodwater proved to be too much for them. Many of them were airlifted here to the interstate, and right now they are waiting to be taken either to a hospital or to a shelter. Now, certainly all of these refugees say they are happy to be alive, so happy they were rescued, but only sorry they didn't get out before Katrina hit.
I am just disappointed that I did not follow directions about the evacuation out of the city. And I'm angry with myself that my husband and I did not get out of here. We thought that if we survived Hurricane Betsy back in '65, we could survive anything. We were wrong.
Now, residents who weren't airlifted were brought by boat to safety, boats that were launched right here from the interstate. Now, these are search and rescue teams who are working tirelessly to find more victims. They tell me there could still be thousands of people who are stranded. And finally, Greta, there is a lot of concern tonight focusing around an effort to repair a breach in an area levee, the 17th Street levee, as it is called. I'm told that that effort has failed, and that could mean that the floodwaters in the downtown area could rise significantly. I'm told by as much as 15 feet. Now, that seems hard to imagine, but if that's the case, that will certainly only add to the problems here in New Orleans and create more work for the emergency workers who are trying to figure out how to drain the city right now. Back to you.
Anita, that could be very serious on that 17th Street levee. Thank you very much. The city of New Orleans lies below sea level, and a network of pumps, canals, and levees normally keeps it from flooding. Tonight, Hurricane Katrina has broken two of those levees, as Anita said. The city is rapidly filling with water and turning into a deadly cesspool. Join us live from Memphis with the latest on the frantic effort to fix the levee is Michael Zumstein of the Army Corps of Engineers. Michael, explain why it is so important to fix this levee on the 17th Street levee in New Orleans.
Well, Greta, there's a breach on the 17th Street canal, approximately 150 or 200 feet long. And what it's doing is it's taking lake water and it's actually pouring the lake water into the city. That breach has got to be closed in order to go ahead and proceed with the next course of action.
All right, if you have this breach going on, the breach is essentially, I mean, it's an erosion action, is that right? I mean, it can get bigger as the water pours over it?
Yes, ma'am, it can, and it will just by the principles of physics usually. What we want to try and do is create breach this by using a series of either sandbags or large riprap, what they call armor stone, something along that lines to go ahead, close the breach, and then what we'll do is systematically start draining the city.
All right. Now, Anita Vogel has just reported that an effort to do that thus far has failed. That seems to me, unschooled in this whole business of levees, but with a little idea of watching and stuff, to be a very serious problem. Is it?
Yes, it would be, but I don't have any direct firsthand knowledge of who was doing it or why it failed. I cannot comment on that.
All right, but would you agree that if it is not fixed in short order, that the problem, that tomorrow we could walk, or the next day could wake up with an even bigger problem for the city of New Orleans?
Oh, definitely. We were extremely hard hit. And, you know, myself and all of my colleagues that are part of the unwatering team, we are approaching this problem and trying to iron through every single issue. And we also have a very vested interest because we're all New Orleanians. So we feel the full impact of it.
Michael, a quick question. Is this an emergency in a sense that they better be working all night long on this breach?
We just got the air assets in. All right. Our first course of action is to airlift the large sandbags and start putting them in place. These sandbags weigh approximately 3,000 pounds.
So they should be doing that now. They should be doing that tonight.
That is possible, all right? The first thing is that the air assets arrived late tonight, all right? And this was a matter of heavy lift equipment that was evacuated out of, I don't know if they were exactly Air National Guard from Texas or this was Louisiana National Guard that was brought to safe haven. But they now are on site in Belle Chase Naval Air Station, and we're trying to work through it in order to get all the sandbags together and start implementing them and putting them in place.
All right, thank you, Michael. This is a Fox News alert. There has been a shooting in New Orleans. Jeff Goldblatt joins us on the phone with the details. Jeff?
Hey, Greta, just as I was wrapping up my video phone report, I had a lieutenant with the New Orleans police trying to talk and find out what was going on. He heard the communication system going wild, and he told me what apparently happened. 2 guys armed with AK-47s firing shots into the 1st Precinct headquarters. Officers returned fire. There was a shootout of sorts, as was characterized to me. Those 2 guys then with their AK-47s then fled into the French Quarter. No officers were hurt. These are not the first officers I've heard to be shot at. I had also heard from this police officer that there was an officer, I think it was yesterday, shot in the face after he tried to go after some looters and tried to arrest them. That officer, I understand, will survive. Greta?
Jeff, I take it that there's hot pursuit for these 2 guys with the AK-47 who was shot in the direction of the police precinct. Is that right?
They do the best they can, but you're not dealing with a foot chase, and you can't go after them in cars. You got to go after them in boats. So it's an entirely different situation here, Greta.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. And if you get more information on that breaking news, 2 guys with AK-47 shooting in downtown New Orleans at the police. It's a very dire situation there. Coming up, there's no power and no safe drinking water in the city of New Orleans. The water supply has been contaminated. It could be deadly. And later, there are countless dangers still facing people tonight, and Katrina is still causing problems with rain, high winds, and tornadoes. Our live coverage of this disaster continues in just a moment.
Tylenol Rapid Release Gels. Gel caps with specially designed holes to release powerful medicine even faster than before.
Learn more about spiders at spdr.com.
Looks like the Chrysler Group has done it again. They have their most award-winning and freshest lineup ever. They have 12 vehicles with 5-star frontal crash test ratings. And their vehicles are projected to retain their value better than GM or Ford. You know what's missing?
A great deal.
Get Employee Pricing Plus on remaining 2005 Chrysler, Jeep, or Dodge models.
It's like you always used to say, Grandpa. If you can find a better car, buy it.
That's my girl.
Me llamo Pedro.
Me llamo Pedro.
My name is Pedro. Me gusta el queso.
Me gusta el queso.
I like cheese. Dame su nuevo y crujiente Cheez-It Fiesta.
Dame su Cheez-It.
Give me your new crispy, crunchy Cheez-It Fiesta. Dámelos ahora. Give me them now. No me enojes. Soy muy macho. Do not make me angry. I am very macho.
Crispy new Cheez-It Fiesta. Busca tu propia caja.
If only you could get more done in less time. Fortunately, Walgreens has Express Pay for prescriptions. Sign up, and once your payment information is securely on file, just pick up your prescription and go.
Exclusive interviews, expert analysis, explosive debate. It's all tonight on Hannity and Combs. Then surviving Katrina, rescue and relief teams mobilize and deploy to devastated destinations. It's a special 2-hour edition of On the Record. tomorrow at 6.
I'm Steve Ducey. On the next Fox and Friends, cleaning up after Katrina. How thousands of volunteers are helping the hurricane victims get back on their feet. Start your day with Fox and Friends.
Don't miss the #1 morning show on all of cable news.
Tonight, 80% of New Orleans is underwater, and the water is still pouring in. The streets have become rivers filled with chemicals, sewage, debris, and even dead bodies. Joining us live on the phone is John Pardue, director of the Louisiana Water Research Institute. He has been looking at the environmental effects of the extreme flooding in Louisiana. John, so what are the environmental effects of this flooding?
Well, really three things, Greta, that we need to think about. One is the chemicals that are going to be in the water, in the flood water. You've been seeing footage today of people walking through those waters. Submerged cars are leaking fuel. Gas stations in the area that are flooded are leaking fuel. All the household chemicals that are in those homes are getting out into that water. And to top it all off, there are, and of course, a number of chemical plants within the city itself, and the integrity of the storage of the chemicals at those locations is unknown at this time. So that's one thing, the chemicals in the water. Second thing is the sewage. The sewage system has been compromised. So the people walking through the flood water, the first responders on the site are being exposed to sewage. And then as we've heard today, one of the large water mains is broken, so that the water system has been compromised as well. There's no drinking water, no water pressure. And so those are the real three environmental hazards that are facing the people of New Orleans right now.
All right, as you look at this huge problem, I mean, it seems quite overwhelming to me. I mean, all these problems, the enormous water that is on the streets of that city. How do you begin to sort through to fix this? I assume first you drain the streets. That's the first. I mean, let the streets drain themselves. But then, how do you go about cleaning up the water system?
Well, I think draining the water is going to be the first step. And even though that water is contaminated, I think first we have to worry first about getting that water out. And that, as we've heard, is going to be a very long process. And then it's just going to be a matter of trying to understand or trying to look at where the chemicals are stored in the city, and then, like any remediation job, trying to get those residues out so that it's safe for people to come back in. Some of these chemicals float, like the gasolines, and so we've seen in aerial shots today that sheen of gasoline that's on the surface, and some of that will just naturally go to the air or burn off. But other chemicals that are stored in the city are what we call sinkers, or chemicals that are heavier than water. And so it's not until really the floodwater recedes that we'll know whether or not those chemicals have actually spilled, and we'll need to use vacuum trucks or other techniques to get those chemicals out.
How serious is this? I mean, is it just simply a matter of time and it can be easily resolved if we have the patience and wait it out and these people endure it? Or is this a problem where you wonder tonight whether we can fix it?
Well, I think it's repairable. I worry about the number of people I've seen in the water today, and I realize that a lot of these people are being exposed to things, and they're going to cause some secondary issues. There are going to be people who are sick over the next weeks from the contact with the sewage and the other things that are in the floodwater. My hope is that the large storage areas that are in town, the large chemical storage areas, that those have remained intact during the storm, and somewhat because these levee breaches have been somewhat benign in terms of the flow rates of water that are moving into the city. It wasn't like the storm surge that we were predicting happened, that perhaps those tanks have not been exposed to very rapid flushes of water and they're still intact. Those are the real dangers, is those very large storage areas for the chemical plants that are in town. So my hope is that those are intact and that we're really just dealing with the fuel issue, which is more benign than some of the other chemicals that are stored in town.
And of course, we know tonight that there has been a breach of two of the levees. One, apparently, according to Nita Vogel, the more serious of the two, that there was, at least so far, has been a failure to fix that. I assume they'll be working through the night because that certainly does add to the flooding. John, thank you very much, and we'll continue to see what happens with water supply, and hopefully that we don't have nearly the problems that we fear we could have tonight with that water supply. That city doesn't need to suffer anymore. Coming up, hundreds, if not thousands, of people are still trapped on rooftops tonight as floodwaters pour into the city of New Orleans. The water is up to 20 feet deep in some areas, and many lives are still at risk. Officials say Hurricane Katrina may be the worst natural disaster ever to hit the U.S. Our live coverage continues in just a moment.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Donna Fiducia, and here are some of the other stories making headlines for you this evening. The Reverend Jesse Jackson lending support to Venezuela's president just days after the South American leader came under verbal fire from Pat Robertson. Our Steve Santani has that story from Washington.
Two critics of President Bush put their heads together in Caracas, the Reverend Jesse Jackson and Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez. Jackson spent 2 days visiting the controversial left-wing president, urging that both sides, Venezuela and the U.S., tone down their increasingly hostile rhetoric. The U.S. accuses Chavez of being a destabilizing force in Latin America, while Chavez claims the U.S. is trying to kill or depose him. The meeting comes on the heels of a comment by evangelist Pat Robertson, who said last week about Chavez the U.S. should go ahead and take him out. He later explained he meant a regime change, not an assassination. Jackson said in Venezuela that talk of assassinating Chavez is unacceptable and should be strongly denounced by President Bush. At the same time, there were conciliatory moves by Chavez, who announced he would sell oil products directly to poor communities in the U.S., bypassing the middleman and cutting costs. He also said he would renew his cooperation with U.S. drug enforcement agents, who he recently accused of spying. In Washington, Steve Santani, Fox News.
More headlines coming your way in 30 minutes. I'm Donna Fiducia. On the Record continues now.
Up next on The Record, Katrina has done more damage than most people thought possible, and she's not finished yet. Floodwaters are pouring into New Orleans, putting even more lives and homes at risk. Thousands homeless tonight, and the death toll rising.
The award-winning Ace Sensations Flat Paint with Scotchgard Protector makes stains so easy to clean, nobody will believe you have kids. Ace, the helpful place.
12 years of marriage, and she never let me touch them.
I hated my dry, cracked feet. Then my podiatrist recommended Carousel.
Dual-acting Carousel exfoliates and moisturizes.
With Carousel, we both love my soft feet.
Renew your feet with Carousel.
Start a new journey. Chart a new course. Go a new way. Discover the new Infinities at the Infinity Limited Engagement Summer Event. Like the 298 horsepower 6-speed Infinity G35 Coupe and G35 Sedan. See your Infinity dealer for attractive lease and finance rates. But don't wait too long. Infinity's limited engagement ends September 6th.
Medicare. It covers hospital stays and doctor visits. But for many people, something's been missing. Until now. Prescription drugs. Starting November 15th, sign up for Medicare's new prescription drug coverage. Everyone on Medicare is eligible. You could save hundreds of dollars a year, but you have to sign up. Call or log on for a free booklet on getting started. Find out how Medicare's new drug coverage can work for you.
For active traders, it all happens here, online. That's why we made Scottrade Elite fast, easy to navigate, and easy to customize, so everything's right where you want it. Streaming data, level 2 quotes, advanced technicals. You can test your strategies with virtual trading, manage multiple accounts from a single screen, and trade unlimited shares for just $7 flat, market or limit. Sometimes it pays to think inside the box. Demo Scottrade Elite today at ScottradeElite.com.
Tonight, more than 100 deaths have been confirmed in the Biloxi Gulfport area of Mississippi, and the body count is quickly growing. Lee Stokes, the Public Information Director for the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, joins us live on the phone. Lee, I guess the head count doesn't particularly matter, but just out of curiosity in terms of measuring the devastation, any idea what it is tonight in the state of Mississippi?
Absolutely no idea, and we're not even beginning to try and guess the fatalities we have. We do have some great news tonight. We know the Coast Guard has rescued about 100 people, and we do have some wonderful information. We had a special needs shelter in Biloxi with 80 patients, and after the storm, an additional 500 people walked up. All of them are alive and accounted for. At several hospitals, people knew there were patients inside, and we didn't know how they were, and we were getting patient count numbers of the hospitals that are operational. They may be without power, but people are alive. And at least we're able to give some family members some kind of comfort right now.
Well, that certainly is great news because we're hearing these horrible numbers. They're nothing but distressing about the number of fatalities. One thing, Lee, that I am getting is that emails are pouring into my email. Unbelievable, asking for information about loved ones. People who live around the United States wanting to know about relatives. Is there a way to do this, or do they simply have to be patient?
Actually, the Red Cross was trying to set up some kind of a distribution point or coordination area, and then we had a private company call us tonight, and we have posted this web address on our website. They are doing an online survivor, or for people who are looking for their family members. If you go to www.gulfcoastnews.com, people can log in there and they can enter the names of their family members and where they lived, and it's starting a database for people.
And so what do the people do on the other end in Mississippi? They go in and register information, or do the people who are getting this data go out and look for them?
Well, actually, this gives us some data. A Red Cross was trying to come up with some of the same kind of a database, and a private company already has several hundred people logging into a site, so it's already there. We're promoting that for them, and we're promoting the Red Cross's 866 Get Info number, so we can get names of people who are the names of the people who are in the shelters and who are alive, and maybe match some of those names up with private people who are doing websites and things like this. It's one of the great things of the time we live in with internets and websites, that we're able to coordinate with people all over the country and the world.
Lee, the thing that's scaring people is that they make phone calls to their loved ones in your area and the other adjoining states, and there's no answer, or they can't get through. Is the phone service just out in huge blocks of areas, so people shouldn't simply get into a panic if their loved ones don't answer the phone?
Not only phones, electricity is out for almost 50% of the population. Phone lines are down for most of South Mississippi. Cell phone towers are down. We're using satellite communication to communicate with emergency management facilities on the Gulf Coast and other hard-hit areas, and it's just going to be a long time before everything is up and operational. We're just having to tell people to be patient and be calm. The search and rescuers are doing absolutely everything they can.
And boy, that is so difficult, because I cannot begin to tell you how many people are literally begging us to get information, even asking us about information about communities that we don't, we can't even reach ourselves, as we try to cover this with all our many reporters on the ground working around the clock, and the other news organizations as well. Lee, thank you and good luck. Katrina has already destroyed tens of thousands of homes. About 40,000 people are spending the night in Red Cross shelters, and even more are being forced to evacuate tonight. Join us live on the phone from Jackson, Mississippi is Mark Jones of the Salvation Army. Mark, give me an outline of what the Salvation Army is doing tonight to help these people.
Right now, Greta, we are working in 3 different directions. Right now, we are coming at the storm victims in Mobile to help them from the east, Florida, and also providing food and comfort and shelter in our Mobile area command there, where we lost a third of our roof. We're also in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, with multiple canteens prepared to serve meals in Hattiesburg, in the hardest hit areas of that area of Mississippi, as well as on the Mississippi Gulf Coast once the government agencies allow us in. In Louisiana, we are organizing our canteens in Baton Rouge and preparing to serve in areas that the government agencies ask us to there. So we're coming at it from 3 sides, and we're ready to meet the needs that the government agencies say are there.
Lee, the Salvation Army does a miraculous work. I mean, it's extraordinary what you do to help these people. I'm always curious, where do you get all this food on such short notice to serve all these people?
When we call in our canteens, we ask that each one of them come prepared, fully stocked. We also looked at the news reports that were coming about the hurricane season, and we began to stockpile our resources of food and non-perishable food items, as well as the service items that go along with that. So we were prepared, and with the canteens reporting fully stocked, with the network of food service agencies that we can bring in and donations through our partners like Operation Blessing, we can supply many of our needs at the very beginning of a disaster, and then through our relationships we have throughout the country, we can continue to supply those needs as the need continues.
Is the Salvation Army, I realize we have the Red Cross there and many other benevolent organizations, but can you meet the demand, or do you wish you had more help, more food, because people are showing up hungry and you just can't take care of everybody who shows up?
We want to meet as many needs as possible, and we always need volunteers. We have a database on our national website at salvationarmyusa.org. Their volunteers can go, and we will process them through that. We also have a need for people to donate financially so we can buy more food. Resources are going to be stressed. This is a widespread damaged swath that Katrina has cut through the South. And so we will continue to work to supply the need and to meet as many needs possible. Yeah. We hope we can do that by coordinating with other agencies also.
Mark, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Coming up, flooding is quickly turning the city of New Orleans into a cesspool with debris, chemicals, and dead bodies floating in the streets. Is there a serious risk of disease? Our live storm coverage continues in just a moment. Don't go away.
There's not enough helicopters. There's not enough avenues of the way. You talk about boats. You get in a boat, you may go 50 yards, and you're going to hit concrete again. So there's no way of getting. We're having to wait till we can find a way. The people in St. Bernard Parish, they say they're still on rooftops and they're clinging on to everything they can, trying to get help. We've got 100 wildlife and fishery guys up here that are brokenhearted because they have the equipment and the abilities to go in and get those people, and they were going to bring them to us. They can't get into. They can't even get into the parishes.
Fox is where the news is.
Introducing the extraordinary E-Trade Complete. Be brilliant with your banking, trading, and investing all on one page. Be visionary and see where your money might be falling through the cracks and exactly how to stop it. Be all-powerful with a revolutionary security device that changes your password every 60 seconds. In other words, be master of your domain.
Oh, there's my earring.
At E-Trade Financial, we keep challenging the ordinary to help investors be extraordinary.
Thrill seekers, bargain hunters, unite. The Mitsubishi Summer Thrill Ride clearance is here. Now for a limited time, buy any new 2005 Mitsubishi car or SUV and never pay interest. Get 0% APR for 60 months on all 2005 Mitsubishis and save thousands in finance charges compared to a typical car loan. Only at Mitsubishi. Driven to thrill.
Pollen, dust, dander. Now the Lancer ES is only $12,999. Or choose 0% APR for 60 months on every 05 Mitsu. And get free lifetime tires. It's only at TNC Mitsubishi in Milwaukee. Drive home happy.
This is unbelievable. It's a lifetime. God.
We'll make it right, John.
For the past 20 years, I've been their insurance agent. But not today.
Life comes at you fast. Nobody understands better than Nationwide Insurance.
Fire, water, natural disaster, even mold. Home or office 24/7, we're there. Call Dow Columbia for disaster restoration, cleanup, and reconstruction. 234-0363.
Let's face it, when you buy a used car, your biggest worry is, how long will the engine last? And that's a critical concern. That's why at Newburgh Ford, we're now offering an exclusive program, a lifetime engine warranty on every used vehicle we sell. No other dealer in the area offers it, and you certainly won't get it from a private party. What's the catch? You just have to keep up with oil changes. If I were buying a used vehicle for my family, I'd want the protection of a warranty. And you deserve the same.
The Newburgh Ford Lifetime Engine Warranty. Finally, peace of mind for used car buyers.
At TNC Mitsubishi, it's the total stock sellout. Now the Lancer ES is only $12,999, or choose 0% APR for 60 months on every 05 Mitsu and get free lifetime tires. It's only at TNC Mitsubishi in Milwaukee. Drive home happy.
This is Fox News Alert. There has been a shooting in New Orleans. Jeff Goldblatt joins us on the phone with the details. Jeff?
Hi, Greta. Shortly after we got off the video phone with you at the top of the hour, there was a New Orleans police lieutenant who was with me, and his radio started going berserk. Shots fired, he had heard. He told me what had happened was a couple of guys with AK-47s decided to shoot up the first precinct. There were shots fired back by members of the New Orleans Police Department. No one was hurt. The two guys with the AK-47s then fled into the French Quarter. We have heard of other incidents somewhat similar to this. The same police lieutenant with whom I spent the night, as he was with us sharing information, he told me about another police officer shot in the face. I think it was last night as he was trying to protect the building from looters. That officer is apparently going to be okay. Greta.
Jeff, thank you very much. Before I let you go, let me ask you a quick question. Is there more trouble on the street tonight or less? I mean, does it seem to be getting better or worse?
It's hard to gauge because of the rising water. Last night it was down in the French Quarter, no problems. No water also. Tonight, different situation. Members of the New Orleans Police Department, more patrols down in the French Quarter tonight, and also members of the National Guard posted there. There has been rampant looting on places like Canal Street where there are a lot of businesses today. And we're not talking just supermarkets where I have seen people going in and bringing out food and handing it out to people. This is incidents like a rummage sale, for example, is how it was characterized to me, where people were going into shoe stores and carrying out box loads of sneakers.
All right, Jeff, thank you.
Sure.
Tonight, the massive flooding caused by Hurricane Katrina is creating enormous health risks. The water supply in New Orleans has been contaminated, and hundreds of patients are being evacuated from hospitals where rising water has cut off the power supply. Joining us on the phone is forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden. Dr. Baden, what is sort of a realistic assessment of the worst-case scenario? I mean, don't give me the wild things, but what can we really expect?
Right now, the bodies, any dead bodies, present no problems from a health point of view, as tragic as the deaths are. It's the dirty water, the fact that the sewerage, the fecal material, is now into the drinking water, that's a real hazard, and that especially children, immunocompromised people with AIDS and with chemotherapy are very could fall easily victims to Shigella, Salmonellosis, even cholera could come aboard. So I think that it's the dirty water, it's spoiled food from lack of refrigeration that can also spread disease. And in the next weeks ahead, those are going to be the really big problems with diarrheas. It takes a few weeks for things like mosquitoes, West Nile, or for rats to develop, to cause problems. Hopefully by that time, the aid coming in will prevent those problems from developing. But right now, it's infection from water and from food that's the real health hazard.
And as bad as that is, and indeed that's bad and could have a catastrophic effect, that is at least not contagious, so it's contained. I mean, that sounds like a terrible thing to say, but at least...
That's right.
Okay.
You don't get it from person to person. You get it by drinking dirty water.
All right. So, I mean, that, I guess, if there's a bright side of that horrible situation, that is that it's not contagious.
That's right.
Electrocution is also a health hazard with those wires?
Drowning, electrocution, being struck by debris from blunt objects can cause death and cause deaths. We don't know how many deaths there are, but the bodies themselves in the hot climate down there will start to decompose within 24 hours or so. Those bodies are not a health hazard. The health hazards, as you say, the down power lines, fires that'll develop from broken gas mains, and buildings and collapsings and objects hitting people, as well as the drowning situation.
All right, Dr. Baden, thank you very much. And again, we continue to follow this news story. I mean, The fact that the levees, there's a breach in one of the levees still not fixed is a serious problem tonight. Health problems, can't drink the water. People have been asked to evacuate New Orleans, evacuate that Superdome. The problem has just seemed to be growing down in New Orleans as well as Mississippi and Alabama. We're going to take a quick break, and coming up, humans were not the only ones affected by Hurricane Katrina. She killed countless animals as well, but we have at least one survival story to tell you about. And if you'd like to help the victims of this horrific storm, please call the Red Cross at 800-HELP-NOW.
Exclusive interviews, expert analysis, explosive debate. It's all tonight on Hannity and Combs. Then, surviving Katrina, rescue and relief teams mobilize and deploy to devastated destinations. It's a special 2-hour edition of On the Record. Tomorrow at 6.
I'm Steve Ducey. On the next Fox and Friends, cleaning up after Katrina. How thousands of volunteers are helping the hurricane victims get back on their feet. Start your day with Fox and Friends.
Don't miss the #1 morning show on all of cable news.
Introducing the 2006 Chevy Impala. With an available 303 horsepower small block V8, it's a whole new animal.
Documents start with people like you who have ideas to share. To bring your ideas to life, choose Sir Speedy. We understand the process of moving from ideas to documents. We have the expertise to enhance your vision and all the technology to make it happen. Whether your documents are electronic or printed, Sir Speedy's global digital network will help you create, manage, and distribute them more efficiently, wherever they need to go. Sir Speedy. We are documents.
My new grandson. He should always feel safe in my hands, arthritis pain or not. But these days, it's hard to know where to turn for relief of arthritis pain. So I talked to my doctor, and he recommended Advil. Even after 20 years, nothing has been proven more effective on tough pain. Not Tylenol, not Aleve. And it's gentle on my stomach. I trust Advil.
Advil for arthritis pain. Fast, strong, trusted.
Introducing the 2006 Chevy Impala. You'll be amazed at what it can do. It's a whole new animal.
Sorry, we can't give you a home loan. Your credit score is only 619.
That'll be 619.
The winning number is 619.
Haunted by your credit score? At LendingTree.com, get up to 4 customized loan offers, even if your credit's not perfect.
Hello, sir. We have the best rates.
When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com.
Hurricane Katrina is not only a human tragedy, countless animals are also affected by this cruel storm. The Marine Life Oceanarium in Gulfport, Mississippi was destroyed by the hurricane, but these 3 dolphins were rescued before Katrina hit. They were taken to the swimming pool at a nearby hotel.
They've adjusted well. They definitely know that they're not home, but they've definitely adjusted well, and they're doing okay.
And you've heard about them, the aquarium?
Yes.
What will happen to them?
Well, right now our plan is to take them to another facility for a while.
It's nice to hear about a happy ending for once. Thank you for being with us tonight. Stay with Fox News for the very latest on Hurricane Katrina. We're going to see you all again tomorrow. Until then, keep it right here. Fox News Channel.